Well, kids in my school were, Chinese, and we didn't have blacks. But I lived in Detroit for a period of time, and I've been to all those underground black clubs and all the rest of it. We're all people. It doesn't matter if you're in Egypt, When I was in Mansoura, which was a very small, the first place I went in Egypt was Mansoura, which is a small, agricultural, very poor little village. Well, they call it a city, but it wouldn't be a city by our standards. And I was in culture shock. Okay, there's dead sheep on the side of the street. The streets are just dirt. Old men sitting out. No water. And I sent the brother who was supposed to, host me money to get an apartment ahead of time. The place had no water. Okay, I mean, you can live with a lot of things, but water is not one of them. And then the neighbor next door, who didn't speak one single ounce of English, I guess she knew that I was having this problem with the water, they were getting up plumbers trying to get water into the place. And she would knock on the door and she would bring me bottled water. Now, bottled water for an Egyptian is an extremely expensive thing to buy. These are very poor people, okay? And all she would do, and she'd have a little tear in her eye, because she was giving a gift of herself. She couldn't say, "Hi, how are you?" Okay, and I would think to myself, this is a wonderful experience. She's giving, to me on my terms, okay, bottled water, not kitchen water, okay, bottled water. And this is exactly, how do we try to make somebody feel better? We say, what would you like? Tea, coffee? We give on the level that you want to receive. So Rafah refugee camp changed my life. I mean, I've never seen people that poor before.
And there's a communication breakdown.
Oh, man.
So you're using a sign language, is it?
There were actually, I met a person on the other side who spoke English, okay, so that was good. But we had for dinner a potato, one potato, that was dinner, okay? They had nothing, okay? They have nothing. I came out of there moved, okay? I mean, changed my life, moved. When you see how people live and they're still hospitable and they still, we're all people, today, you could lose your wealth, or I could be struck by, some plague, or, whatever it happens to be. We all want the same things. We want security. We want the right to be able to earn a living. It doesn't. All the rest doesn't matter.
Are you touched by the kindness, or are you touched by the religion or the person who show you the kindness?
I'm touched by the kindness. To answer honestly, personally, the religion is the secondary fact. It's that we identify as people.
Yes.
Okay, man has taken religion and ruined religion. Manipulated religion. We, narrow little paths. This is what this is. This is what that is. This is what this is. After 9/11. At the time of 9/11, I was a Baptist, okay? I would go to my church on Sunday, and I remember the first sermon after 9/11. Now, this is in Vancouver, Canada, which is about 2.5 hours drive from Seattle, okay? I mean, we are really close to the border of the United States, okay? And I remember, the praise in that religion, there's praise in the beginning of the thing, singing and what have you. And then the pastor gave a sermon on something like how to treat your children or something. There was not one word about what had happened on 9/11. Now, that event shocked everybody and shook everybody. That is when a pastor in faith, or if you have hurt, that's when your faith should be front and center. It's what holds you. It's what grounds you. But they didn't even address it, okay? People were glued to the television set. I mean, Canadians were freaked about this.
Because at that time, the perception is the attack was being done by Al-Qaeda.
Well, it was
at that point of time, the perception...
It was more than that. It was that we do not mix politics and religion. Therefore, they saw that as a political event, somebody trying to, make a political statement, and they didn't want to discuss that because politics and religion, what kind of religion do you have if it doesn't encompass every part of your life? I mean, you can't say this is my religion and this is my politics and this is this and this is that.
At the time of the incident of 9/11, the image that was being projected by the media, that they want their image, the stories, they already plan what sort of image to be projected to the world.
Absolutely, absolutely. I remember sitting on my computer with the face of Osama bin Laden, looking at him. Okay, just looking at him. My staff had gone home, I was on the mountain, the staff had gone home, and I wanted answers. I typed in, who is this guy? What does he want? And I remember looking at him thinking, this isn't a Charles Manson. This isn't a mass murderer who's out of his mind. You can tell by looking at someone's face.
It's true.
What's wrong? What does this guy want? And that's when I started to dig and started to find out about the declarations of war and about Palestine, which I didn't know about Palestine.
Right.
Okay? How on earth could I have grown up for 48 years in Canada and not known that Israel was formed on Palestinian land? How is that possible? And then, somebody who's in the know, a business person who's tuned into the news all the time and all the rest, how is that possible? So once I found all this stuff, I was outraged. Because I'm like the average Canadian person. We don't know any of this stuff. And I knew, people said, well, why would you want to do that portal? The war will be over, before you know it. I knew the war wouldn't be over before, I've been proven right since.
So most of the public just doesn't want to be any part of it, is it? Just let it pass and
exactly.
Forget about it.
Which actually brings us back to the Jews topic. Part of, regardless of all the difficulties we're having, financially, staff-wise, all those things, people are sick of the war. They don't even want to deal with it anymore, okay? They want to watch their ball games. They want to, Pakistanis, staying with the Pakistanis in Britain. During that time, the Alamos massacre happened in Pakistan. And I tried to interest a filmmaker in going and, doing a documentary on it. Now, I'm not Pakistani, okay? But this is somebody killing, Musharraf killing his own people. It's tyranny, okay? So we finally got the film, authorized, which is why I'm going to Pakistan. But the Pakistanis I was living with had no real concern for this event that happened. And their answer was, the Pakistanis have always been ruled by the stick, and they don't know how to operate other than the stick. So they literally justified Musharraf's attack on his own people. Now, meanwhile, they're watching British football, and they're living a British lifestyle, and, it's like, it's not even an issue to them. If this happened in Canada, okay, if this happened anywhere as a person, I would be concerned about it. But if this happened in Canada, in Vancouver, for instance, I'd be, catching a plane home and, speaking to the media and doing, but people are distancing themselves from that because they, A, they don't want to speak up, B, they don't want to be branded as a terrorist because anybody who stands up these days is branded as a terrorist. And C, they actually don't care, because it's not affecting their life today. It's not, they're putting your food on the table. They're putting, they're driving the BMW.
Who are we talking about?
Well, just, Pakistanis in general in Britain, okay? I mean, I'm saying that when something like a Alamos happened, the Pakistanis in Britain didn't do anything about it. They didn't open their mouths.